Oh my gosh, we are live. Oh my gosh, we're live. Yay. Facebook wasn't playing very well, but decided to, rethink the process. Good morning. Good morning. Christa Sutton here. It is time for coffee, and in this case, tea with Christa, because Mercury has their tea. So welcome. It's Thursday. We're back on track. It's been a holiday. It's been crazy. It's been fun. It's been fabulous. I am here this morning with my dear friend, the amazing Mercury, who happens to be a visual performance artist and activist on a mission to end all slavery, tyranny, and taxation. I believe I said that right. I'm super excited to hear more about that in a little bit, as well as a FUUN coach, FUUN. I promise that you will know what that means before this time with you wraps up. So, oh my gosh, Mercury, thank you so much for being here. I love you. I miss you. I miss you. You give the best 13-second hugs ever.
Thank you. Thank you. We're so grateful to be here. And we're just, it's just so much fun, literally, FUUN, to be here with you.
Awesome.
So a little bit more about me. Our background is pretty eclectic. We have a lot of experience volunteering along with a lot of different groups, from the undocumented to the untouchables to special needs. And we've also spent, a lot of time in the arts world. We're an off-Broadway playwright and director. We have, we're actually working on bringing a show back that we did before, Fable and Nutty Tale. We're going to reprise it soon. We're in talks with our producer and co-writer to do that. And our big mission is ending all slavery. It's a really big thing for me, and specifically our EAT campaign, which is end all trafficking, tyranny, and taxation, so that we can ultimately end all slavery everywhere. And that's just, little bit more about me.
Just a little bit more, just a tiny bit more. So here's the big old deal. Those of you that are tuning in, if you're live, go ahead and hashtag live. I see some of you that are tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you that are watching the replay later, please feel free to hashtag replay, ask any questions. Would love to have you be able to do that. Now, we are going to be having a fabulous conversation today. And when we are done with this interview, we are going to be live on Clubhouse. So for those of you that want to be able to jump on Clubhouse when we're done, ask any questions, comments, insights, anything that you want to share, and be able to have some serious one-on-one time with this amazing human being that I'm so grateful to be able to call my friend, and I'll be there too. You can find me on Clubhouse at Christa Sutton, and we will be there as soon as this interview wraps up. So those of you that are on live, you get that extra added bonus. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump on in. Here's the big old deal. My focus, my mandate on this earth at this moment is having conversations around mental health and mental wellness for today's professional, for us, for every single one of us as individuals and us collectively. And one thing that I truly believe that Mercury, thank you for doing this, really inspired me when we got to spend time together at our coaches retreat, Sean Q. We got to spend some time together, really get to know one another. I got to be the blessed person who got to have the first big in-depth conversation with him after you arrived, which was fabulous. And I got to tell you, I want to have fun.
Oh yeah, of course.
I thought I was having fun. I mean, does anybody get that? I mean, you think that your life is, you're having fun. And now granted, Mercury and I are front right brainers. We are total creatives. We're out of the box thinkers. We're kind of the weirdos, and we kind of love that.
Yes.
But everybody should be having fun their own way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so my first question for you, the first thing I kind of want to kick around a little bit is, I'd like us to redefine play.
Yeah.
Because, we're adults. When we're kids, we knew how to play. It came to us instinctively, and yet something squished that. So how do we as adults, how do we as professionals, how do we collectively redefine play?
For me, redefining play kind of starts with your thoughts, especially because a lot of times, because we've spent, we've had so many people, especially adults that come into our lives as children, their whole lives are focused around work. When as a kid, your whole life is focused around play and how to get more play and all these kinds of things. And it's only through conditioning and reprogramming the mind that we're then trained to focus on work. And then we just feel enslaved. We just feel trapped. We feel all these negative things because we're not free to just actually just express however it is we play. Some people's play is math. Some people's play is business. Like everybody's got their own kind of way of play, but it starts with in your thoughts, even just changing the word work to play in your mind. So no matter what you're doing, even if you say the word work, if you're thinking play, you've already shifted your mindset in a more positive kind of way to redefine play for yourself and what that means. And also just one of the biggest things about redefining play for yourself as an adult is connecting not just with like your inner child, but your inner colors, the brightness and the different realms that drive you. Because like your inner child is great, but your inner child often comes with other little things, things that you haven't grown up around. And so like changing even the word from child to color, still see, right? Gives you more expansion with how you can play with who you've always been, and that's still a part of you too.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so cool. This just popped in my head. What inspired all of this? What inspired all of this? The fun coach, just all of the beautiful things that are you. Where did this kind of come from?
We've always been super empathic and compassionate, all this kind of, and like super emotional. Like when it comes to emotions, like we're super tapped in, and which could also be a hindrance sometimes because we can get tapped into other people's emotions. Yeah. But for me, becoming a fun coach, which stands for Freedom United Under Net Play, because why network when you can play? And for me, becoming a fun coach was seeing how, because we have slavery in our own lives. Everyone has slavery, either mental slavery or physical slavery, but there's so many types of feeling trapped and enslaved in your body and your mind and all these different areas of your life. And we aren't perfect. We still have some slavery matrices that we have to work on, but we know they exist, right? And so that we've acknowledged that. And so becoming a fun coach for me was just really seeing the necessity for others to feel that same freedom and experience that same understanding of like, yeah, we're enslaved in this place or our mind is stuck here, but we can have more. We just have to be open to it. And it was just such an important thing because we've just seen so many people feeling trapped and enslaved, and especially after the last couple of years, it's just like depression and anxiety and suicide, like all of these things, all of this mental health stuff has just been put on the back burner. Yeah. And it was already on the back burner before, but we had distractions. We had things to distract ourselves with. And then it gave us the time to really sit with our emotions. And then it realized how stuck we really did feel. And so that's kind of where it came about. And also just our experience with just slavery in general and the work that we have done in the past and how important it is to share freedom.
I so appreciate the expansion on the word slavery.
Yeah.
It's so easy for us day in, day out, being, just kind of getting on that treadmill, getting in that cycle of this is just what we do, our lives. So many of us, myself included, we kind of put ourselves on wash, rinse, repeat. And there are elements of that serve us, but and the fact that the human brain is, 90% of what we do is on autopilot. We've all driven somewhere that we drive all the time and we're there and we don't even really remember getting there. Autopilot isn't a bad thing until we allow it to be in the driver's seat all the time. And And that in and of itself can be a form of slavery. I would really challenge everybody, as you challenged me, to think of the areas in our lives, in work and, personally and professionally, in a space of where do I feel enslaved? Because I think we've been using kind of soft, squishy words that
minimize,
make it okay. Does that, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's to minimize your trauma, to minimize your experience, because it's a coping mechanism.
Yep.
Right. To try and it's like, it's not that bad. It's like when you talk about your childhood with your therapist at first, you're like, oh, we had a great childhood. And then you start talking about stuff and she's like, like, it takes time to like expand on. And sometimes it's good to have that like narrow view or softer words to help you while you're transitioning and processing, more emotions. But like at a certain point, you do have to make a choice and a decision to like, take the harder words and make them easier.
No, and I so appreciated that, because for those people that know me, my mental health has been it's been a very difficult journey my entire adult life. And just recently, we all have ups and downs with our mental health. And this is not just for those of us that have a diagnosis. This is all of us. If you have a brain, mental health is a thing. I'm just going to call it the way that it is. Yes. So if you say that mental health isn't a thing, well, there you have that. So you just don't have a brain, apparently. And so, for me, having that level of awareness, I think for me, that's what it is. It's in the conversations that I have regularly with clients and those in my community, having that level of awareness gives you that internal permission to say, okay, I can use hard words, but they're not really hard. They're just next level.
Yes, exactly. Everything can be easy. And that's kind of why even part of our campaign, it's easy, EAS lowercase EY. Just for that, end all slavery everywhere, like making it easier, making it like literally making slavery easy, like calling it that. For me, it helps, it's acronyms, different ways, like whatever way helps you to make things a little bit more manageable and accessible is always like a good thing.
So let me ask you this. What are some of the easy words that most of us have been using, that if we took a good long look at it and had that level of awareness, that we would reframe and call it self-slavery?
Oh, that's actually, okay, that's good.
I know this is a 3-hour conversation in and of itself, but just a few of the words.
Well, honestly, we would start with maybe curse words, starting there. So like one of the things, that we've done in some of our work volunteering and stuff is, we would change the word, like you would have like other word, like safe words, right? To replace them so that the kids wouldn't say curse words or whatever. Well, as adults, we can do the same thing. So one of the words like sh plus it, right? We like to call it lizard. So like, instead of saying, oh, that's lizard, like, because we like lizards. We think they're fun and they're silly and they're playful. We love animals. And so like something like that, as simple as changing that word. Or the F word, we like to call it alien, like just alien like whatever, like just changing those kinds of words. And it's silly and it's fun and it's playful and you change it to a word that isn't bad, that it is just something that's completely unrelated, but still has like something fun to think about in a more positive, playful way. And it's just also, I guess, with the
infusing it in the mindset too.
Yeah, you really do. Because one of our favorite quotes from like Mahatma Gandhi is, your thoughts generate your words generate your actions create habits, your habits create character, and your character determines your destiny. Paraphrase. But it's so true. And so like when you really do start in your thoughts, and
Right.
especially with your inner child, your inner critic, your inner color, whatever you call it,
Mhm.
right? Like we try not to call it our inner critic, we try to call it our inner color, just for that purpose too. And not our inner, like all these different things, like making these little switches, like that can be so simple and so small, but can make a huge impact in just how you function in your everyday. Like even when we started using we from I, like we still use I from time to time, because like the whole purpose of that was so that we could have expansion and play with God, so that we
Yeah.
could remember that we're not doing any of this alone, that we're doing it with God. And even sometimes we still get in that mindset of, oh, like alone and trapped. But for me, like the we was something that helped me to really like experience God in a whole new way, and to feel
I
more
love that.
free in how we believe, and what our faith is. And
Mhm.
yeah, so like that's probably just the first couple things we
I
would change.
think it's so beautiful. I absolutely do, because we do get caught up in the I, and then we close in our focus, and and we have a business environment and well, a world environment that says, if it is to be, it's up to me, and that's just not
It's not,
true.
we don't do
Just not true. You and I are both participating in our coach's 21-day abundance challenge. You guys seriously got to check out Sean Q. At day 3, I believe, was talking about the single most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to those who are millionaires, billionaires, and not that it's about the money, it's about the mindset and the abundant mindset, etc. And I'm just going to cheat a little, and I'm going to tell everybody what it is, because it blew me away. Actually, no, I'm not going to tell people.
You can
I'm going to
tell.
make you have to listen to it. But
Okay.
it blew me away, because did you just say it?
No, we just said you can tell people. We were not, we didn't give any spoilers.
But I mean, I really want them to take the challenge. But here's the thing, and I love that this tags on to you, and we is opening that up and taking you out of the I concept, the me concept, and opening us up. We were born into, regardless of your belief system, everything is energy. So look at it from a scientific perspective if you want to. Everything is energy. Whether you call it science or God, or I choose to call it both. Mercury, I know you choose to call it both.
Yeah.
Science and energy and God and all of these things. Here's the thing, it all boils down to everything is energy. And we're all connected, whether we realize it, whether we want to admit it or not. No man is an island. We are all truly connected. And one of the most powerful things that we have in this world is collaboration. And it was just Sean's message in day 3 was so eye-opening and so powerful to me. In that vein, though, we've talked about redefining play, but in that vein of expansiveness, which I love that you bring to the table, how do we individually, not making it an I, but how do we individually as well as collectively, how do we infuse play into our everyday? How do we, because I think most people, again, redefining play
Yeah.
going to be the key for them once they realize that doesn't mean taking a vacation and going, jet skiing for the week or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Because plays can be free. One of the things like growing up that inspired me to get into theater in the first place is because they called it a play. They didn't call it a work. Had they started calling them works, we would have not gotten into theater at all. Like we've never. And one of the things that we love so much about plays and all of that is it's a collaboration that you literally, it's like, and even if it's a one-man show, there's still a stage manager, there's still a lighting person, a direct, like there's all these people. So it literally does, like plays and all that does not function without collaboration, without others around you. And so honestly, the biggest thing with play is doing it with others, not holding all the play to yourself, and being open to find that freedom in play in conversation, and just what we're doing here. Like this is fun, this is play, just by communicating, by expanding, and we're doing it with purposeful action, which is this makes it even better. It just expands
Yes.
on the play.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And you mentioned earlier, to some people, math is play, science is play. This for me, this is play. Showing up at this is play. This is work, but it's play. And being able to find something each and every day that allows you to show up and have fun. And I'm just going to tell you, if you happen to be a creative, you've got to create every day. That's your play. That's how you show up. For those of you that live much more in your left brain, whatever that is, that may be coming in on yourself in a very good way to math, to science, to data, to whatever that looks like. But it's whatever lights you up. At the end of the day, play is whatever lights you up.
Yes. Yeah. And it's different it's different for everyone, just as there's different, we're all different people. We all have different thoughts and ideas and way that we show up in the world that's completely unique to ourselves. Like even if you stand next to someone and you look like twins and you have all this, like you still have differences. There's all, like even twins themselves have differences in their personality, in the way, like all the different stuff, like experiences constantly shift and change us down different paths and create new versions of who we can be as we show up.
Oh, I totally agree. And also, play doesn't have to be the same thing every day.
No, it's different every day.
Yeah, it's different every day. It's different every day.
For example, like the 21-day abundance thing, like one of the things that we've been doing is we've been giving ourselves time every day to sit down and work on artwork, like specifically visual art, is what we've been working on so far. And we're working on a couple of different pieces. One's this piece that we've been working on for over 3 years, off and on. And our friend Jamie from CWP actually helped me we're making these felt roses, and we've already made a couple hundred of them. Yeah, we had to hand cut them and all this kind of stuff. It's a whole thing. But he helped make one with me while we were at the park one day. And it was just so cool because that was the first time anyone's made a rose with me to like be a part of the piece. And so it was just really cool to be able, and we'll be able to, like, when we start opening it up, because we still have a lot more work. Right now it's just a lot of preliminary stuff where we're making the flowers, and then we have to open them up, and then we do some hand beading and stitching and stuff. It's going to be beautiful. But the whole piece is it's about slavery, but it's also about freedom. The title of the piece is "We Bleed Red and Gold," and then the subtitle is "Holocaust 2." And it's HOLLOWCOST, and then the numerals II. And it's for a lot of reasons. It's gonna be so beautiful and so ostentatious and so big, but it's also gonna be something that's gonna spark a lot of conversation, and especially around slavery.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Now, are you in a space where will you share some of it, or is it still in that creation process where you're holding it close?
Oh, we've already been sharing. If you go to our
Oh,
Facebook,
sweet. Okay, well then I want to know more.
because we made a post with some stuff, because we have one piece that we made that's called Yellow Roses, and it was a piece that we made for our grandmother. And so you can see and that was just an 8x10. The other one's bigger than both of these combined. It's a rather large, it's like a 3-foot canvas that we're working on.
Oh, I love that.
But so you can see kind of an idea of what the other one will look like just from the piece that we made for our grandmother, which is all yellow because it's her favorite color and she loves roses. And all the hand beading that's beaded to the canvas is all done in odd numbers because she loves odd things. And like there's a lot of different specific stuff, like just when we were talking to her when we wanted to create this piece for her. So it's yeah. But like we said, it's, even though it's about slavery, it's really more so about the freedom that comes from it, like the beauty that comes from acknowledging the pain and the sorrow and all that stuff. And like we've been, like we said, we've been working on this piece for over 3 years now, and we're nowhere near done. It's probably going to be a few more years before we finish it. But it's such a labor of love, and we'll take breaks from it and we'll come back, because we don't work on it every day, because then that would be literally the work, right? And that was one of the things that, like, we were going through a phase where it was play and then it started to feel like work. And it was really cool, like I said, having Jamie help me make a rose really reinfused some of the play and why we're doing this is because we're not doing it just for ourselves, but we're doing this to share and express with everyone how expansive we can make things. And yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I can hardly wait. Yeah. The last weekend it felt like it was all play because we had our part of our Wyoming family show up and surprise us. So we had 7 of our 10 grandkids here, and it's been nothing but play. And we still have 2 here. So everybody else has gone home, but we still have 2 here until the weekend. And so I haven't been on social media, but I'm going to definitely jump in there, and I want to go check out and see what you've been posting. So thank you for sharing that.
Don't know if you saw it. We posted a thing because years ago we did volcano surfing, which is a lot of fun.
That I did see. Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, you can only do it there. It's the only place in the world. Cerro Negro in Nicaragua, Leon.
That is so fascinating. That is so fascinating. So I want to switch gears. Well, not switch gears. I want to move the conversation along just a little bit. So once we have this level of awareness, we realize that we are, we're kind of enslaving ourselves in areas of our lives. We're stuck in that toil aspect of work and not the play aspect of work. We have that level of awareness. We rediscover or learn, for many of us, either old things that we used to love to do, that we used to have fun doing, that we can infuse on a daily basis, new things, adapting the mindset. For me, that was huge. Things that I did that I told myself were work that translated to toil, when they became fun, that's how I got over my fear of going live. That's how I got over my fear of showing up, which is so crazy because everybody, when you're around me, everybody's like, you're not afraid to get up and talk to people on the spur of the moment. No, I'm not. But I used to be.
Yeah.
And so it's that reframe. Once we start implementing play into our every single day, even if it's a little 5-minute thing, even if it's a whole day, if it's somewhere in the middle, being very intentional and purposeful on infusing play into our day. What does that do for us? How does that impact us? Big picture. I mean, I know that we noticed that immediate kind of boost, but over the long haul, what does that look like for us? How does that impact us?
It makes it easier to do this, kind of like what you were talking about, autopilot, like to find the play on autopilot, where it's not like you don't have to try so hard to find the play and everything. You don't have to try so hard to get creative with whatever your mission is or your purpose is. Our mission is slavery. Like our movement is based around slavery. That's a pretty heavy thing to be focused on all the time. And it can feel really hard to turn that into play. But when we were talking with God and we meditate with God and we do all these different things, like it's always like, that was one of the things that God constantly tells me is, if you don't make slavery fun, no one's going to care. If you don't find a way to make it playful and something that people are excited to get on board with, then you're not going to get anywhere. And so that's part of like where fun coaching came in too, is because before that, we were focused on other things and realized how important fun really is. Because it's, God and no one wants to feel trapped. No one wants to feel enslaved. Nobody wants that. That's conditioning, that's coercion. If you do feel like, well, I want to be a slave or whatever, like that's your mindset, it's because you've been conditioned and coerced into that. You've programmed yourself into thinking that it's okay to be enslaved, that it's okay to be in all these things. And it's okay to not.
We call it adulting.
Yeah, you call it adulting. And it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to ignore it and to pretend like everything's just, I'm just adulting. I'm just adulting. Got to do the adult stuff. It's like, but that's not helping you get anywhere. That's just pushing you further down the mental roadblocks that are just going to keep you going further and further away from your purpose, further and further away from your play. And it's just going to make everything, you want to enjoy your life. You don't want it to be something that you dread waking up in the morning. Yeah. Oh, one of the things like some of the word shifts, like just talking about like morning, right? We don't like to use the word good morning. We like to say grand rising, right? Like it's silly, it's fun, it's playful, but like also the word morning is something that we talk about a lot with death, right? How we mourn and we grieve. So we don't like to start our day off with grief. We like to start it off with rising to elevation, to whatever's coming up instead of going down.
I think that is the coolest thing ever. I absolutely love that.
It's so playful. You can be like grand rising, it's
Grand
just
rising.
you can do something very like, fanciful with it, because it's always so funny when you say it to someone because they're not expecting it, because they're just saying
Yeah.
morning. And like, when people just go good morning and it's like they didn't do it with any positivity. They were
Because
literally
it's autopilot.
it was autopilot. Right, exactly. So like instead of doing that so much with autopilot, same thing with like hello. We like to say greetings instead of hello, greetings. It just has a more positive tone to it.
Well, and it takes people out of their autopilot. They're not expecting it. I think I know it's not even an I think. I know that most of us, because of this autopilot, we're used to, if you're going in the office, good morning, how was your day, blah, blah, blah. We have these go-to phrases, and there's no emotion, there's no true connection.
Yeah, it's literally like you're playing a video game and you're just going through the motions and skipping all the like they're doing like all the dialogue and you're just skipping through it as fast as you can.
Yeah. It's like let's just hurry up and get through it, except you're hurrying up and you're getting through the actual life part of life.
Exactly.
And which is the connection, the collaboration, the awareness, the purposefulness. Yes, so true. And everything that you're saying about play is also true about mental health. And that's why, when you and I got to be in a room together and I just, oh my gosh, best 13-second hug of my life, except I'm pretty sure we went a whole lot more than 13 seconds because we both needed it that day. It was a day. we worked, it was play, but it was work. And we were tired at that retreat because Sean we were going and going and going and it was fabulous. But I saw so many similarities in my messaging around mental health, mental wellness, and play. They just paralleled each other in a really beautiful way because just as you said with slavery, people, the mental health conversation, people don't want to have it. Or if they do have it, it's kind of morose or obligatory or
it's trying to say like, oh, you have mental health problems. What's broken with you? What's wrong with you? And it's like the fact that we're acknowledging that we have mental health things that we need to think about, it shows how much we are like moving forward.
And what astonishes me is there's still so many people, they're just like, mental health or mental illness or whatever terminology you're using, mental wellness, health, that it's not really a thing. It's like, well, okay, well, what about heart health? Do you have a heart? Do you want it to be healthy? Okay. Do you have a brain?
Yeah.
Do you want it to be healthy?
Yeah.
And yet there's this huge cavern between there's people don't apply logic to it, which I don't know, but it drives me crazy. But I love the similarities between the reframing. We both have a tendency, we like to reframe things. We like to play, we like to have that element of play. And basically, I think for both of us, and for many people, I'm sure that are watching, play is engagement.
Yeah.
Play is connection. Play is collaboration. I'm going to use that word until I ruin the meaning of it for people. But that, do you agree? This to me, this just makes sense.
100%, like 100% agree. it would just be like, even if you had a coach, therapy or whatever, like if every time you went there and you were just angry or sad, or, like sometimes you gotta be able to laugh. We laugh with our therapist all the time.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, and one of the things that we love about our therapist too is we ask her questions too. We get to know her a little bit. She just went on a trip to like Italy, which was amazing. Like it was so cool. We got to ask her all this kind of stuff. And it makes me feel more comfortable sharing things, knowing more about her too. Like it's a back and forth connection and communication that's playful. And so like, we don't, sometimes when we go through some pretty tough traumas and stuff like that with her, we'll end up crying for sure. But most of the time, like we leave feeling pretty positive, or at least with some good questions to ask ourselves throughout the week on how we can shift our energy. And because we've certainly over the past few weeks, especially because there's been a lot of like intense energy just with everything that's going on in the world. And so it has made things a little bit harder to keep yourself like out of that, like, oh, just like trugging along kind of thing. And it's been good to ask ourselves more questions about like how we can be kinder to ourselves and how we can give ourselves a little bit more room and grace for allowing ourselves, like wherever we're at in our levels, to just be there and not have to be constantly reaching for the next thing. Like, yeah, we can, reach for more, but also being happy and finding the play and the joy in the exact moment that you're in.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much for hanging out, for playing with us today. I appreciate you so very much. So, so here is the big old deal, you guys. If you want to be able to have a conversation, ask questions, questions, comments, ahas, takeaways, anything, we would love to continue this conversation with you. The Coffee with Christa live Q&A after show is happening here in just a few minutes over on Clubhouse. You can find me at Christa Sutton on Clubhouse, and I'm going to post the link here in just a hot second. Mercury, will you please, my dear friend, for those that are watching, want to get to know you, follow you, all of the fun things, will you please let everybody know where they can find you, and do you have anything coming up that they can participate in or engage in? So take it away while I post that link for everyone.
Sounds good. So first off, our big thing that's coming up, it's a free event on August 2nd, the day the Declaration of Independence was actually signed. Even though we celebrate the 4th, it was signed on August 2nd. And so we're doing a 22 to 33 day meditation focused on ending all slavery. So it's prayer and play, making it easy. And it's going to start on August 2nd through Facebook. And it's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 11 minutes. And yeah, just for 11 minutes each day for 22 days, possibly up to 33 days. We're going to see if we can extend it, and all focused on prayer and just the idea of ending slavery. And that in itself is going to be such a huge thing. Imagine praying for 22 days that slavery's gone, how that's going to feel just to release that. And then you can go about the rest of your day without even thinking about it. And then if you want to connect specifically with me, we have a lot of different social medias. We have Facebook under Mercury Rising. Our IG is Mercury Artist Rising. Our TikTok is also Mercury Artist Rising. And we also have a funnel page, a page for you to come book an inner color view with me, which is homey1.us, not .com, .us, because all about us. And it's HOME, the letter Y, the number 1.us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. So really quickly, if you want to jump in the chat and, or not in the chat because we're on Zoom, but if you want to jump on Facebook in the comments, go ahead and link anything you want people, what you just shared rather. I need another cup of coffee. It's, oh my gosh, grandkids 24/7. It's fun. Go ahead and share that while we go ahead and wrap this party up. I just posted the link for Clubhouse. So for those of you that want to continue the conversation, ask the questions, get the lowdown, all of the fun things, please, 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 as soon as we wrap up here, join us over on Clubhouse for as long as we want to stay on there, 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes, whatever. It's going to be a blast because who doesn't want to hang out with Mercury? So thank you, Mercury, for spending time with me today. Love you, appreciate you, grateful for you. Thank you for reintroducing fun into my life. Thank you, those of you that are watching Coffee with Christa, whether you're live, watching the replay, whether you're catching this on YouTube. For those of you that would like to follow me. Again, my name is Christa Sutton. I am a mental energy management specialist and a workplace mental wellness advocate, speaker, and consultant. So you can find me on YouTube, Coffee with Christa. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Instagram at Christa Sutton Coach. I am on Clubhouse at Christa Sutton, and my website is christasutton.com. So I try to keep things pretty easy. Just if you want to find me, go find me at
all
Christa
about
Sutton.
easy.
Somebody's got to do it, right? Okay, so with that, we're going to wrap this party up. Appreciate and love every single one of you. Promise me that you are going to take care of you today. The world needs you today, tomorrow, and the next day. Appreciate and love every single one of you. Go have some fun. Remember to play. Coffee and hugs. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now.